Hi, everybody, and welcome to Flume Stream Entertainment Network. This is Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name is Matt Buteau. To my left is Brent Coble. Welcome, soccer, high school, beautiful weather. I'm excited. What about you?
Oh, extremely excited, Matt. Looking forward to our games we've got to cover yet. And also excited about the games we've already covered.
We're about halfway through the season, probably maybe even a little more than halfway through the season. We had the opportunity to go over to Woodsville and watch a very good Woodsville team play against a very good Moultonborough team. We were anticipating a close game. We got a close game. Woodsville pulled it off 1-0, but there was nothing wrong with the way that Moultonborough Academy played that game.
No, agreed, Matt. Moultonborough certainly stepped up to the plate and played some better quality soccer than they had been playing previously in the season. Giving up that one goal, heartbreaker, but they certainly had their chances.
Now, Brent, you go play against Woodsville and you're like, okay, you look at their scores and 5, 6 goals, 7 goals, and then you're a Marlboro Academy team and you're like, okay, we want to pull off a win. You don't win, but you lose 1-0. Part of me thinks, hey, that's pretty decent. Let's take something good from that. But I'm also sure that the players are like, man, we were so close, we could have won. As a coach, how do you build off of that?
Well, as a coach, we've got to understand kind of what the Moultonborough coach, Mr. Kelly's
Robert Kelly, yes.
intention was yesterday. Was it to play a good game of defense and maybe get some offense rolling if you could, or just play your normal game? And it's tough to say, but obviously they packed it in a little bit defensively, and they were able to just take the ball off the Woodsville shooters' feet numerous times. They deflected some balls. They did a lot of different things defensively, and they did, have a few opportunities offensively too.
And like you said, I think for both teams, but especially Woodsville, that's a team that plays fundamental soccer. We talked a lot about the triangle. There's nothing fancy. It's very simple, very basic, but very effective.
Oh, no doubt. And as their goal was scored, it was a couple different wall passes down into the corner and a nice cross right to the middle to a header.
Now for Moultonborough Academy, their keeper Lauren Greenevic, and I said this a couple times during our game yesterday, just made it look really simple. She wasn't overreactive, wasn't out of control, just kind of grabbed the ball and made the save. I'm sure that's comforting for that team, especially the defense, knowing that there's a confident keeper back there, taking charge.
Yeah, we talked yesterday a lot about composure of many different players, but Greenevic certainly showed some composure in the net yesterday. Didn't seem rattled at all. I can recall a time when one of the Woodsville players came in all alone and she did her thing, cut down the angle, and stopped the ball.
It was almost like a hockey goalie
Yeah,
save.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So again, confidence and composure goes a long way, especially in soccer.
Now, one thing I wanted to see from Moultonborough Academy, now we've covered them over the years for a couple, probably 3 or 4 games, and we'll have some of that footage coming up. The last time we covered them, we were playing against Pittsburgh Cannon, and I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, this is a fast team. This is a team that's just going to dump the ball and chase it." We saw bits and pieces of it, spurts of it. I didn't see as much as I would like.
And again, I think that might have gone to the game plan, Matt. What Coach Kelly designed for a game plan. Obviously, you can't play every team the same way. You have to come in with a plan and try to execute that plan. And to me, I'm not sure. Again, this is my opinion, but he came with a defensive game set, and he didn't want them to put 5 or 6 goals in the net. He wanted to give his team a chance, and it certainly did.
Exactly. Now let's talk a little bit about adversity for both teams. Now you have a Moultonborough Academy team that's very good, playing down 1-0, but you also have a Woodsville team that is very good, and they're only winning by 1-0, being probably used to that, maybe 4, 5, 6 goals. Adversity. You got to play. When you're down, you got to play when you're up. You got to play against a team that you can compete with. You got to play against a team that you can't compete with. Those coaches seem to have it down. You know, Here we are. It's a different game for both of us, playing through some adversity.
Sure, playing through, not just adversity. The old COVID has ticked back up again here in most of these schools, and The sickness, the flu is going around. I know the school I work in, it's rampant. It's running through. It's doing its thing. We touched on this yesterday a little bit about moving players around and players playing different positions, and I think Woodsville's had a lot of that lately, as of late, for sure. And they're like the coach said, like Coach Lang said, we're really trying to find ourselves because people and pieces are moving around so much. Obviously, she'd like to have her whole starting lineup ready for every game and move forward that way. But, unfortunately, in the times and what's going on right now, that can't happen.
It's a long season, and being able to adjust accordingly is important. I think that we're going to be able to bring up, while we're talking, I think we're going to be able to bring up some of some clips from yesterday's game that you and I can go over briefly and give some players a shout out. And I think what we put together is, exactly the things that we're talking about: good composure, keeping the ball close, fundamental soccer. As we watch Woods will take a shot there. This is the first half of the game. It's still 0-0. What do you think?
Yeah, and again, we talked about this yesterday, Matt. A lot of shots for both teams were 20, 25, 30 yards out. They weren't able to penetrate real close to the net, which again goes back to that defensive scheme. I think that Moultonborough dialed up for this one. Those shots are less likely to go in, especially when you're given. Here's the one that was point blank. Yeah. And she was so composed. She didn't hesitate. She did her job.
Now let's talk about this part of Moultonborough's game. This is Kat Gleason coming down the side here. That's the speed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she's got an afterburner there, and unfortunately she didn't have any teammates there to pass to, and she tried to take a shot, but again, making something happen. In a 1-0 game.
You're right.
Here's Paige Smith for Woodsville, who was we called her name out a lot yesterday, and she's putting the ball right onto Walker's head. I mean, basically Walker walked into that.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended, Miss Walker.
But like we were talking about before we had this show, it's simple. They at least make it look simple. You go down and they make a nice cross, and as we're watching here, Coach Robert Kelly. It was a great game. It was a great game to cover. Two very different teams. A little bit of a push there, but that's the physical parts of those games, especially between these two teams. And just one team won. And I'm gonna give a shout out to, I can't remember her first name, but Wagstaff, the keeper for Woodsville. For as composed as Greenevic was, Wagstaff was just as composed. And the thing I like about Wagstaff is she says, you know what, I might only get 5 shots. They might come periodically or sporadically, but I got to make those too. And she made all of them.
And that's a great point you brought up, Matt. Thinking back, we used to play a lot of good Guilford soccer teams when I was in school, and their keepers were really untested, so to speak. And they really probably never had to have a great keeper because nobody got that close to them to put balls on the net. You're absolutely right. Wagstaff did a great job in that yesterday and took advantage of everything she could gobble up back there.
So that's Moultonborough Academy and Woodsville, the Engineers, a 1-0 win, a huge game for both of those teams. I'm sure that we know both coaches. They're learning from that, and if they had practice today, they're talking about some of the good things that happened in the game, some of the not so good things that happened in the game. But we were there to cover it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree, and another shout out to Coach Lang from
Yes.
Woodsville. She was on a few championships teams at Woodsville when she played. She played back in the 90s when you and I were in school.
Oh, so she's young like you and I then.
Yes, she's
good.
Yes.
Yeah, I call myself a young 45, but we're going to finish up. When we come back, this is what we're going to do. We're going to show you some highlights for the past couple years of Moultonborough Academy, who have been really good to us. Coach Robert Kelly, always up for a conversation, and we're going to run that while we go to commercial. When we come back Thursday, Profile Boys, Gorham Boys. Now, that's going to be a battle.
Big one.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
So go ahead and watch these videos of Moultonborough Academy Panthers. And when we come back, like I said, we have coverage coming up on Thursday for the battle between Profile and Gorham Boys. Stay tuned.
What does joy look like? At Santa's Village, it looks a lot like this. Visit a world of pure joy that's closer than you think, where it's always the season for smiles, for laughs, for family, for reindeer roller coasters and cookies. For a day packed with so much fun, you'll know exactly what joy looks like. Santa's Village, pure joy, family style.
Covering you at home, at work, and at play, George M. Stevens Insurance is the only local agency to offer personal and commercial insurance, as well as health, life, and financial services. With offices throughout the North Country, we service your complete insurance needs. As a trusted choice insurance agency, we research coverage options from the nation's top companies to ensure that your policy works for you. George M. Stevens Insurance, protecting New Hampshire and Vermont since 1882.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Flume Stream Entertainment Network for Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. My name's Matt Buto. I'm being joined here today by Brent Colville. Brent, Gorham Profile Thursday, 4 o'clock. We're covering it. Huge game.
Huge game. Again, been looking forward to this game since the beginning of the season. Two great coaches, Backler over in Gorham and Doug Kilby in Profile, coming out of retirement after a few years. Biggest game of the season so far for both teams.
Now, they played each other once before, and Gorham had a 1-0 win. What does Kilby take from that game, and what does Backler take from that game for this next game coming up?
Well, obviously 1-0. That's a tight contest all the way through. A goal could have been scored here or there either way. I wish we could have been there to see that one. But Profile, they want to come in and they want revenge, and they lost on Gorham's field. Again, we talk about home field advantage a lot, and they want that revenge. They want to turn the tide, so to speak, on Gorham coming down to Bethlehem on Thursday.
Now, at the beginning of the season, we had a conversation with Coach Matt Taylor over in Woodsville, and Matt Taylor kind of identified those 3 or 4 teams, especially in the North Country, although probably statewide. Littleton, Woodsville, Profile, and Gorham. Profile and Gorham are kind of pulling away from that pack. Littleton's close by. They've played competitive games against Profile and Gorham, but it seems to me that right now Profile and Littleton are standing out.
Profile and Gorham.
Profile and Gorham.
I agree with you, Matt. And I'm going to say probably both Doug Kilby and Dave Backler don't want to see that Littleton team in the playoffs. They've both, struggled with them, so to speak. I think Gorham tied them 0-0, and Littleton actually beat Profile in that for their only loss of the season. No, excuse me.
Well, let's take a look while we're here. Here we have the standings. Gorham's on top of 46 points. And real quick, Brent, I know we've been over this before, but for the viewer that's wondering why Concord Christian's in for a second and Profile's in third, real quick, can you explain that to us?
Yeah, so Concord Christian's only played 8 games, obviously, as you can tell. They're 7-0-1. Profile's 10-1-0. And it's all about the point divided into how many games you've played. So Profiles played a Division III school, they get that odd numbered points, so they're going to have that 41. Concord Christian, again, not being up to the same amount of games, their rating is still just a tiny bit higher. As Concord Christian gets more games in, these things will even out. But the rating is figured by your points into how many total games you've played.
Now let's look at the standings. Gorham 11-0-1, 46 points. Profile 10-1-0, 41 points. And I'm also watching Woodsville closely at 9-1 and Littleton at 8-2. Only a game or two are separating these teams. This is a game that you could win that would have an impact on where you're placed for the playoffs. Home field advantage, who you play. It's got to be on the minds of Kilby and Backler.
Oh, no doubt about it, Matt. And obviously finishing number 1, 2, 3, 4, that guarantees you 2 home games. And it also, for both of these clubs we're talking about, Gorham and Profile, they finish in that top 4. It guarantees they don't see each other till the semifinals, which is, another huge thing. You don't want to see one of these better teams early. You want to work your way up through and maybe see a Profile in the semis or a Gorham. And maybe see each other in the finals. It could be an all-North Country final this year in Division 4.
Which would be great. We have some competitive teams up here just looking at the standings. Gorham, Profile, Woodsville, Littleton, well represented in the North Country. Great competitors, great coaches. We get to cover that Gorham Profile game. Today's what? Today's Tuesday? What are your conversations like with your teams? What's your preparation? What's your practice? Hey, Gorham's coming to town. Hey, we're going to Profile. What does it look, or does it change at all?
I think for both of these teams, probably not a lot changes. They're both pretty fundamentally sound in what they do. Both coaches have their styles, and they're just looking to expand on what the coach's ultimate goals are. Putting the ball in the back of the net obviously is a big thing for both schools, for any schools. But playing a solid defense, and as the season goes on, you want to work more on those particular set plays you have. Those plays tend to come out further along in the season and save some stuff that hasn't been seen. Maybe on corner kicks, direct kicks, some special plays.
Let's take a look at Gorham Huskies real quick. Sometimes when I look at these games, Brent, they mean a lot to the future games, and sometimes they mean nothing at all. But I have a couple questions for you while we're here. Obviously, Gorham's playing these teams, winning by 6, 7, 8 goals. A close game against Groveton, which I watched, was pretty impressive. They have the tie against Littleton. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. I wonder, in preparing for a team like Profile and playing these teams winning by 7, 8 goals, how do you keep your team in? How do you keep your team like, hey, okay, we won 8-0 today, but we have a Profile team that's coming, and they're going to bring it?
That's a great question, Matt, and that's a tough thing to do. It's tough for coaches where you have a team that's not as superior as you, and those are the games where, we talked about it yesterday when we were on the air, where you have to practice like you're going to play in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing changes. Everything, back to an old baseball reference, when you're up 10-0, it's 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to have that mentality. If not, things start to break down. Your schemes start to break down. So you got to always stay on track and go for the punch, so to speak.
Now, Lisbon's Les Poor, Coach Poor over there, been coaching for years. Great coach, great guy. You recently spoke with him. What were his thoughts on the season and his team?
His team is struggling with as most of them are, with injury and sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Lisbon being the smallest athletic high school in the state, there's 82 kids total in the high school.
No kidding.
41 girls, 41 boys.
Wow.
So it's I don't want to say it's slim pickings, but it's hard to get. A soccer team takes 11 players. Coach Poor's got a following. He's been there for so many years, won state championships, so many semifinals. He always is going to give it to you straight. He's going to tell you as it is and like it is. And he was telling me today, we're not where we should be. And a lot of it's due to injury and sickness and numbers.
Let's go over to Profile Patriots. Doug Kilby, out of retirement, coaching a really quality Profile team. good guy, good soccer guy. Looking at his team, that Grofton team, I don't know if you noticed that, but 3-0 against Gorham, which is actually pretty competitive, and 1-0.
You also got, the 1-0.
Yeah, so that might be something that we want to watch, that Grofton team. But again, same thing, controlling most of their games. They did lose to Gorham. They beat Littleton 1-0. Again, that looming team that could really cause a lot of problems. You're Doug Kilby looking at this record. You're looking at that 0-1 that really stings, the 0-1 loss. Doug.
Yeah, he wants that game back. He's going to want to go into the end of the season with the same record as Gorham.
Yeah.
And see where the pegs may fall after that, tiebreakers and this and that. Obviously, tiebreakers first go to a head-to-head matchup, and if they're both 1-1, then it goes, I think, goals against or goals for. There's a whole list of criteria there in the tiebreaker scenario. But that's certainly what Profiles want to do here. They want to get back on, and Gorham's got a tie, so that could hinder. If they were to lose to Profile, that could hinder their chances of squeaking above Profile.
And the best thing of this all, Brent, is we're covering it. We're going down to Profile. You and I and the team are going down there. We're always looking for competitive and exciting games. We were over in Woodsville, had a great game with Woodsville and Moultonborough Academy. On Thursday, the boys' teams, Profile versus Gorham, probably the more important game on the schedule for both of them. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Again, on Thursday, 4 o'clock in Profile. We'll be there covering it. And when we get back, after a quick break, we'll finish up, talk a little bit more about the season and what else we're going to be covering here at Flume Media.
I used to think college was for other people, but after a lot of hard work and thanks to an incredible support system, now I know I'm exactly where I need to be.
Just like you means when I walk into the bank, I feel like home. I feel like this is home.
It's a family. It's just small like me, but it's good like me.
Just like you, I know I have the support of the bank, and my clients have the support of the bank. And to me, that just has extreme value.
Hi there, I'm Chuck Lloyd, president at White Mountains Community College, just talking to you a little bit about our college. We've been here since 1965. We've got 3 locations in Berlin, Littleton, and North Conway, and we're also online. We have a lot of technical programs, and we have a lot of online, remote, synchronous, asynchronous, whatever works best for your schedule. We are the only higher ed institution in New Hampshire above the notches. And what that means for us is we've got to be all things to all people. And we aim to try to do that by responding to workforce needs, industry and business, and partner locally with the needs of our communities. We could not be more excited to host new students coming in January.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Flume Stream Entertainment Network Sports Talk with Matt and Brent. I'm here with Brent. Brent, I want to talk about coverage for Flume Media for the rest of the season, or actually for at least the next week, I should say. Tell me about it.
Well, Thursday, obviously, we've been talking about it. We're going over to Profile to cover that game with Gorham. Next Tuesday, we'll be down at Epping, Battle of the Sunapee and Epping boys. Next Thursday, we come back with another one of our shows here, another sports talk. And then following that, Friday, we go to Moultonborough for another boys matchup with Littleton. Looking forward to that one as well. You know, we haven't seen Littleton yet this year.
Yeah, a lot of good matchups. We're going down to Epping, expanding our coverage, going down there and spending some time with teams down in that area, which is a good thing.
You know, and as you said that, Matt, I wanted to touch on that a little bit for our viewers. You know, we here at Flume Media, we try to go above and beyond and get you the best coverage we can. Not only the coverage, but the angles, the HD, all those extra special things you see on your television sets these days. We try to get many different camera angles. As big as a production as we can make it for you, that's what we're going to do. Obviously, that's what we specialize in. So don't be afraid to give us a call anytime you want anything covered, you know, and that goes from weddings all the way down to games. Obviously, you and I are here to cover games, but wanted to just shout out and give a shout out to our boss here at Flume Network. You know, and on that same note, Matt, I want to say happy birthday to my son, Reed.
Oh, it's your son's birthday.
He's 12 years old today.
Really?
And his name's really Reed, but I call him Rito.
Rito?
He's been a Rito since he was born. And I just wanted to say happy birthday to him.
Well, happy birthday, Rito.
Rito.
Or Reed. So he's 12. That means you're, what, 28, 29?
22.
22.
Yeah, I had him when I was 10.
Excellent. Well, happy birthday, Rito. Happy birthday. Upcoming games, Thursday, Gorham at Profile. Tuesday, 10-11, Sunapee at Epping. Sports Talk with you and I. Friday, 10-14, Littleton at Moultonborough. Brent, any last words before we finish up?
No, just looking forward to the end of the season coverage here and getting into the playoffs and hopefully, you know, getting a few of those North Country rivalry matchups and you know, watching Gorham and Littleton and Profile and all those teams move forward in the playoffs.
And as I say, that's Brent Colville, the most colorful color commentator in the North Country. For Chad Filling and Adam Noyes behind the scenes, making sure we stay on track. This is Brent Colville. I'm Matt Buto. We'll see you guys on Thursday.